Yo, what's going on guys? Jared here. Today I'm going to be talking about a budget deck actually. After the YCS I decided to take a little bit of a break. A lot of good video games came out. Oblivion and Clair Obscur Expedition 33 have both amazing games. Try them out if you are into video games. But now I am dipping my toes back into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Metagame, and luckily it's pretty much the same. It's still Malice and Mitsurugi Raziel, so that just makes it very easy for me. But I want to talk about budget options in the current format. And to be honest, in my opinion, I think being a budget player is almost as good as it could ever be for Yu-Gi-Oh! This is honestly one of the best times in budget players in my opinion. Obviously, the Malice deck can be very expensive with things like March Hare. The Mitsurugi with Mitsurugi Ritual can be expensive, and the Raziels are all kind of at like, I would say, like a medium price range of about like $8 to $10. So yeah, like obviously those can get like a little high, but really the expensive things are the staples, right? Things like Dominus Impulse. The higher rarity copies of Fool are pretty high, but the lower rarity ones are like 15 to 20, I think, right now. So obviously we're not going to be using those. Perulias are very high, Meows are pretty high. So all the Charmies are pretty high, but a lot of these decks are cheap enough where you can honestly justify spending money on the staples, especially the lower end staples, to have them forever, right? Because staples are pretty much good for forever, essentially. So I think investing in those is a good strategy for your future in the game if you want to continue playing the game for a longer period of time. But this is a deck that I think is a good, one, I would say even investment, but also it's a good deck in general because it even got top 8 at the Rhode Island with Santoli playing it. Now, it wasn't this version of the deck, but it was Crystron. He was playing Crystron. He was playing Crystron Horus at the time. This is going to be Crystron Millennium. I'm using the Millennium package as a supplementary Horus engine because I want another engine in the deck that does something and has some kind of synergistic value with the Crystron themselves. And I'm going to jump into that a little bit more when I get into the actual profile. Yeah, if you guys enjoy, please subscribe. If you want to see more budget content, let me know because before the NAWCQ, I would like to do more budget content before that time, before I have to really start putting my head down and grinding for the event. So if I can make a different type of non-competitive content, I think that's the best time to do it is right now. But without further ado, hope you guys enjoy, and let's go ahead and get into it. By the way, quick shout out to Dual Perfect on YouTube. He has a same thing, a Horus Crystron deck that is also budget friendly, has combos on here. Feel free to check it out. I don't want to just like take the combos and rip them and put them on my video, so please by all means go check out his video. Check out the combos, see what they can do, and just see some of the combos, but I promise you, even in these combos, the deck can do even more because there's an effect that I don't even think he was using in a lot of the combos, but I think it's really important to know. So yeah, go check out, again, it's Dual Perfect made a video on this deck as well. Okay, so here is my current Crystron Millennium deck. Obviously, the Millennium package is very small, but you only really want to see one of these cards in your opening hand. If you start seeing multiples, they get redundant very quickly. But just overall, very quickly, we have one copy of Citri, one copy of the Turtle, 3 copies of Smiger, 2 copies of Sulfador, 3 copies of Sulfaneer, 1 copy of, I'm just going to say purple, 2 copies of Tristalos, 2 copies of Inclusion, 1 Foolish, 1 Prosperity, 1 Cluster, 1 Callby, 2 Sengenjin, 2 Golem, 1 Ouiju Temple, 3 Nib, 3 Astri Veiler, 3 Imperm, 3 Droll. For the extra deck, we have 1 Amitrex, 2 copies of the level 7 Synchro, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, and then 1 copy of the level 9, 2 copies of the FA Dawn Dragster, Chambara, Samurai Destroyer, the Ice Jade level 10, in Cyber Dragon Infinity, Cyber Dragon Nova, Clockwork Knight, SP Little Knight, Photon Lord, and Doom Dragon. Now I know just something to keep in mind, this is a budget deck. I want to just make this very clear. I know that these Sangenjins have been going up over time. I think these are at like $5 to $6 right now. Something to keep in mind. I've said this for a very long time now that this engine is very good, and just at least have Sangenjins because this is the one you're going to play the most of over Ouiju Temple because this is the ultra rare. So it's going to be worth money over time. And if you go on TCG Player, the chart literally just goes up because it's just so good. It is due for a reprint, so keep that in mind as well. Also, I do know that, where is it? Dragsters are like, I believe like $5 as well right now. Doom Dragon, I believe is $10 right now. Photon Lord is also $10 right now. So yeah, just like stuff to keep in mind, right? I want to make sure that's very clear of like what these prices are. A lot of these cards aren't mandatory, like this is for like Nib installation, but you also can play something like Terratop and Gossip Shadow to also give you Nib installation in a different way and also be a starter for something like Cherubini. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff here that is movable around. The Doom Dragon is really just a bonus level 8 if you need it. Obviously, you can get to it if you have like a certain amount of Millennium cards, but is it necessary? Is it needed? No, it's not. It's just something here because it can be played. So yeah, just wanted to make that very clear. In the side deck, I have just cards that you can play. I kind of got into a little bit of them with the Terra Top and the Tekatomboy and the Gossip Shadow. But yeah, we have extra copies of Ouija Temple. I have Gen X Ali Return 0. I want to explain this a little bit with the Excel Synchro. So this deck, not even this deck, the Crystron card specifically, usually people don't even read the first effect of these cards. These cards do not, the deck doesn't really use the Crystron's first effect that much. Just very quickly, you can target a face-up card you control. You can't special for the rest of the turn from the extra deck from the rest of this turn except for machine synchro monsters, and then destroy the card and special Crystron from your deck. So they are essentially all tutors in a way, even without the effects that are good, right? Like usually Crystron combos go normal something like Smike or Link It All for Clockwork Knight, grab Inclusion, and that's kind of like your combo bridge. You can also start combos the other way now with the Millennium stuff, because you can put Crystrons in the Spell and Trap zone with things like Ouija Temple. Also, even going like Seng Engine for Golem, for Ouija Temple, and then using a Crystron to pop to Ouija Temple, that's also an option. My point is, there's a lot of options that you can do in this deck to be able to move cards around and get to your engine way better. Now, because of that, I think you can also switch around the Crystron ratios. I know this is the very standard Crystron ratio right now, but in this deck specifically, if you up the Crystron ratio, or maybe switch around the Crystron ratio, and maybe like up the Millennium count by just a couple, and maybe you can play more of the purple one, you can get to the other Crystron monsters themselves with upping the count of the purple one, for instance. Just an example of something you can do. You could also play some of the other tuner Crystron monsters, but I kept the engine as standard as possible right now. I didn't want to move it around too much. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. That's why I really like this engine as of now. There's other engines that can do the same thing, right? Things like Kashtira, it's really popular. Being able to go like Planet, Fenrir, Unicorn, all that stuff. You can even use the Crystron's effect in that example as well to blow up stuff like Planet, blow up the Unicorn, bring it back with Birth. A lot of different things you can do, which I think is really, really cool. But it's just something to keep in mind in the long run of things. So other than that, I have a bunch of other machine synchros in here. So that was getting back to Return 0 and Excel. Being able to use that effect, you need to be able to put up interruptions, right? Because then you're sacrificing stuff like Infinity, which is a big part of the M board that usually Crystron makes. So if you are using this effect, you need to be able to go into something like Excel, because you can make 5s in this deck, because Tristalos is a 2, Smiger and the purple one are 3s. And then from Excel, you can use Excel plus 1 of the 5s to go into the Arms Return 0, and you have Dark and Water, and your hand traps are other attributes, things like Fire, Light, and Wind. So you have a lot of options and variables in the deck itself, as well as Dark from the Excel itself, which is really, really strong, right? Being able to negate and destroy so many monster effects is always good. I always say this card is like a sleeper card. It is insane. It just needs the right deck for it. We also have other options for synchros as well, things like Ogatia as a pop, because you can quick synchro on your opponent's turn as well. Braver Dragon, I actually really enjoy. Just the fact that this card can equip 3 equip spells from your deck is ridiculous. Obviously, we're not playing equip spells in Crystron, but it is important to know this is just a very, very good machine synchro monster. Something like Navy Dragon Mech and Vermilion Mech, both of these cards get value when they are popped, as well as being able to do stuff on the opponent's field, like Vermilion being able to pop, and then the Navy Dragon being able to negate. We already went over the Cherubini Terra Top engine. This is a very good engine in the deck. I'm not playing it right now, but it is definitely an option, and it's so budget. These cards are all so cheap. All of them are in the change level. Even the Gossip Shadow isn't too much right now. Typhon, obviously, you can play. I just don't have the room for it right now, but if you wanted to cut something like Shambara or Doom Dragon, feel free to put Typhon in instead. And you can also add the 1 Millennium Brick if you want, just as an extra body. I'm not doing that right now, but again, it's up to you if you want to do that. Now, like I said, the Crystron engine itself is really cheap. There is another Crystron that you can play in the level 4 synchro, and that's if you start with Citri specifically, because you only play level 2 tuners. So you need to be able to, or not Citri, I'm sorry, the turtle. You have to use the turtle to summon out a level 2 tuner, and you need a level 4 to be able to synchro off for Tristalos to be able to get into your cards, because you want to use Tristalos' graveyard effect. So the level 4 Crystron is also, what's it called? Crystron. What is that? This guy, Quantix, he's really good because if he's destroyed, you can target a Christian or Graveyard Special Summon. It's the same thing as the 5, but it's just another version of it, essentially, but for 4s. That's literally only if you just start with Turtle, so just something to keep in mind. Again, the ratios are not set in stone. In this build specifically, I think they can get moved around a good bit. Now, the Crystron board is obviously not like a crazy thing, so like, in comparison to stuff like Malice and Mitsurugi Razio, right? We're playing budget. If it was the best deck in the meta, it wouldn't be as budget as it is. So obviously you have to take that into consideration. You are playing a weaker deck by some standards, but you get advantage with Crystron in the fact that, I'm not going to lie, not a lot of people know what the Crystron cards do. Not a lot of people know how they work, how their interactions work, what they're going for, what they're trying to do. It's all things that you have to consider when you're doing your deck choices, especially when you're considering your own budget. You also need to be really good with Crystron. You need to really understand the ins and outs, what it's capable of, what its weaknesses is, what its strength is, how it's going to go into the matchups with things like Malice and Mitsurugi and Raziel, all of those different things. It's really important to know how all of these things work, and your opponent doesn't know how they work, so you can set up things that they probably won't know, and then you are able to take advantage of those situations, right? You can be on a budget, just don't be dumb and on a budget, right? Like you have the power to learn, do it. You have Dueling Book at your disposal, that's free. YouTube's at your disposal, that's free. Take advantage of these resources that you have so that you can prepare yourself if you're going to things like even a local or a regional or something. Any of these situations, you should be knowing and preparing to get better at the deck that you want to use. Crystron is a prime example of that. Also, even figuring out what sub-engine. Obviously, I have Millennium in here. There's so many sub-engines you can play. Like I said, I have Speedroid Terratop in here. The Cashtira package also works. I totally was playing the Horus engine. There's just so many different versions that you can make. This is just the most budget, in my opinion, right now, besides Terratop. So yeah. Overall, that's going to do it for me right now. Again, there is a lot more stuff you can do in this deck. Like Crystron has a lot of actually avenues you can go down, surprisingly, and it's pretty cool. I actually like the deck a lot. I actually purposely went out of my way to pick up the deck in real life, and hopefully we'll be able to use it soon. Unfortunately, I cannot go to locals this week, but hopefully soon I'll be able to put the deck together and make it and actually play it in person, which is where I want to do. So hopefully that'll be soon. And yeah, I actually want to try playing Budget Yu-Gi-Oh! Again. So overall, hope you guys enjoy, and if you have any suggestions down below for people who are seeing this in the future, for other suggestions for Crystron, please leave it down below for a resource for people. And again, I'm going to put the other video where some of the combos are in the description as well for you, so that you can see just some of the combos and interactions with the Millennium cards and the Crystron cards. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. Hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe if you did, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.